from my perspective, what helped me actually get footing on YouTube in general was I saw that there was like kind of like a lack of quality in terms of editing and video quality overall, like sound quality and so on and so forth.
What really helped me is that everyone else was shit.
No, that's not what I'm not what I'm saying. Ooh, you guys were super in sync. That might have been really good.
It was good. It was good. I agree.
So NSYNC.
Bye, bye, bye.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Blue Banana Podcast. With me, the always in black Liam.
Sup?
And I have the today not so blue or yellow Shanks red hair Sophie.
Say some more colors Sophie isn't. Green.
Yeah, you're
Not
also
orange.
not green, not orange. Yeah. Are you guys mentally prepared for a not One Piece episode today?
We'll see how we go with the not One Piece.
All I know is One Piece. If you try to have any other conversation with me, I just crumble.
There is going to be some One Piece in this episode for sure, because we kind of
thank
wanted
fuck.
to go bold and daring today. We're going to discuss a little bit the state of anime YouTube.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun. Bold. And I guess it kind of like encompasses a little bit because we're all kind of different generation. Like we all started YouTube kind of in different eras, I would say, all at different stages of, I guess in our case, One Piece, but also anime YouTube. And there is, I've heard wild tales of the OG anime YouTube, which sounds very unfamiliar to what it is today, but also just in the 5 years that I've done YouTube, which feels insane that it's been 5 years. I think last week was my
it's half a decade.
yeah,
Congrats,
channel
Manu.
anniversary. But yeah, like even in those 5 years, things have changed immensely. We obviously have anime in general getting more and more popular. We have AI. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about today. But yeah, maybe just to kick things off, what was both of your impressions, maybe starting with you, Sophie, when you first made content? Like, what was your overall impression with like One Piece and the anime community? Like, how much were you involved in that?
That's an easy question because I would say
Not at all.
I had zero. Yeah, absolutely nothing. And I would even say that my exposure to the anime YouTube world is still very, very limited, despite being, I guess, a sort of part of it. I'm still very much only in the One Piece side of things, and I don't really delve further into it. My introduction to One Piece YouTube was literally through the Grand Line Review himself, who is, I hear, in this call with us today.
What? Celebrities on the Blue Banana One.
Would you say that I'm your role model?
I would say that never meet your heroes is a very
Role
apt
model is a
saying.
strong
That's true.
word.
I actually said this to you the last time we met. The first time you met, you actually gave me a cake with my channel logo on it. It was a very sweet thing to do. Now it's like I see you and you're like, oh, crap, I guess I'll
This
spend
fucking
some
guy
time with
again.
you. Yeah. There's diminishing returns each time we see each
Cloud
other.
chasing Sophie. I made a cake. I made a custom cake for Grand Line.
It was a really good cake. I've never seen another one, but that one was good.
Yeah, the cake stopped coming afterwards, I've heard.
I got what I wanted.
I got used, but the cake was worth it.
How about you, Liam? Like, were you at all a consumer of anime YouTube? Because, okay, you might be the only one in this call then, because for me, similarly, I was like watching Joy Boy.
Ooh, so Joy Boy's your role model. Interesting.
Very much so, yeah.
How fascinating that you blew up with a theory then. That's perfect.
Right, that's OG, yeah.
Comes
but
full
like other
circle.
than that, not really. I actually got into YouTube itself fairly late in my life. I've always been kind of like, oh, YouTube, not a fan. And then only when I went to Japan really did I start watching a lot of YouTube. So a lot of anime YouTube's history has been a true revelation to me. When I was I think Gigak and Joey the Anime Man, they gave me like a breakdown of all the drama that apparently existed, like starting with the birth of YouTube in 2006. So were you more living through that era, Liam?
Yes and no. So I was definitely there at the birth because in 2006, 2007, I used to make AMVs, anime music videos, and post them on YouTube. So I was well and truly
You
into
did?
like, that part of the community. Absolutely, I did.
Are those still
That's
up?
how I got my start editing. They are up. I will not tell you the channel name though. You can
Oh,
go and
come
find
on,
them if you
Liam.
want. Never. Because these are like my high school years, man. We don't need to see those.
You gotta wear it with a badge of honor.
One of them did get 50,000 views, which back then was the equivalent of like 1 million plus. It was inconceivable. However, then I went to university and I kind of gave up anime for 3 years, everything except One Piece, which I still read weekly. So I missed the AniTube development, the idea that there were people on YouTube who started reviewing anime. That's the period that I missed. And when I came back to it, people like Joyboy, Tekking, Rogers Base were very established voices.
A little bit more up to date with that. I couldn't even tell you exactly the names, but there were like really established big YouTubers apparently, many of whom don't make content anymore or like just kind of like fell a little bit behind the curve. But yeah.
Would you say they fell off?
I don't know because I never experienced them for myself, but apparently there were like really big staple names that meant nothing to me.
That you can't remember.
I can't remember, I'll be honest. Yeah.
Legends past.
I mean, obviously, One Piece wise, I'm curious. Like again, as you said, it's like the Rogers and the Tekkings, the dinosaurs, the old generation, if you want to, of One Piece YouTubers.
I once called Tekking my grandfather in a video actually, and he wore that with some pride because he effectively is. You can go back to his channel to the very first video he ever posted. He's like a 13-year-old boy or something. He's so small and adorable.
I have actually watched one of his, I think it might have even been his earliest video. And it's kind of crazy. You know how when we have child celebrities and we watch them grow up?
Yeah, you can watch Tekking grow up if you want.
You can't watch him grow up, yeah. That's pretty cute, actually. That isn't like one of his most viewed videos, like how to make a YouTube video, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Yeah, no, that's some epic stuff. What were you like aware what the outside of One Piece, the more broad anime community looked like when you joined?
Oh no, I thought you were just going to say YouTube in general. No, because I only very recently got back into anime en masse around Attack on Titan. You know, when all of the normies got in, everyone was starting to watch anime, and I was like, hey, I used to do that. This is my thing.
It's cool. It's cool now.
It's cool now. Oh yeah, I've been a weeb for ages. Yeah,
I've always been doing this.
You should watch this, and this next, etc.
I got into anime before it was cool.
Unfortunately, I did, which was very evident in high school.
Oh yeah. Similar to you guys, I feel like there's like two things. Again, like had no contact point before I started making content myself and kind of learned almost from within about like many of the creators operating, One Piece wise obviously, but also anime generally. But also as Sophie said, maybe because you're making content yourself, it kind of reduces also your, I guess, willingness, or it's not fun necessarily if that's what you're talking about most of the time. You stop kind of consuming a lot of other anime content for pleasure, I would say. So for me, like my YouTube interests also then shifted a little bit to like, you know, something non-anime related, what I was watching just like recreationally, and like watching anime stuff was with exceptions because there are always like videos that have great thumbnails and titles and I can't help but watch them. Like those exist, but overall I was rarely sitting down and felt like, oh, now I talked about One Piece myself, now I need to watch other people for pleasure. Like if anything, it was like for research or see what other people were talking about.
I feel like watching 5 other people talk about chapter 1093. Yeah, after I've just spent a whole day doing that.
That'd be great.
It's like the classic thing of if you're a chef, the last thing you want to do is come home and cook.
Though I've heard that that's not necessarily true. Well, for chefs.
I was actually just about to say, I don't mind watching people's reviews of different chapters, even though I've made my own, because it's kind of fascinating sometimes if you have like very different takes on different chapters. I think for me, it's solely because I literally just do not have the time to watch other One Piece YouTube.
I was going to ask when you have the time to do that.
Yeah, I would agree. And if it's a really good chapter or a really great episode or something really cool happens, I will definitely check out what other people think. Again, that's why I said with exceptions, but I'm not sure if you guys are the same, but I definitely have channels on YouTube or like niches on YouTube that I just consume because I enjoy, like for pure entertainment, that I enjoy, like sports related, whatever it may be, right? And like anime is just not one of that's like not that section that I would on a consistent basis seek out. Again, with obvious exceptions to that.
Yeah, there are some exceptions. Like when live action One Piece came out, I was consuming a lot of people's videos about that because I really crave to hear people's opinions because there are some wild takes out there and there are some interesting insights as well. So I've watched, I think, every video that someone made of live action One Piece that I could get my hands on at the time. Like I was watching channels that have like a couple of hundred subscribers, that sort of thing. Like if you made a video about live action One Piece in the week after it came out, You've probably seen it.
Liam has probably seen it. That's pretty insane.
That includes everyone in this call, even though Sophie is a little bit late, and that's fine.
A little bit late.
Oh, I kept you waiting, did I, Liam?
Yeah, he kept me waiting.
Who was it? Was it Daniel? Like Daniel Greeny? Like someone just like this week or last week posted their reaction.
His was like 2 weeks ago or something. It was still delayed, I would say, but I watched it. He kept calling Kobe Colby, is what I remember.
Colby's pretty strong. Yeah. I don't mind that.
I mean, if Shanks can call Makino, then why not?
Makino. Yeah, exactly.
Makino.
Oi, Makino. Yeah. You got a mop?
Yeah. Manga. The One Piece
Shanks
manga.
has gone very Australian all of a sudden.
But yeah, getting a little bit back on topic, and I'm curious what your experience... Sophie, how long have you been doing YouTube for now?
3 years now.
3 years, me 5, and Liam... I mean, actually, when did you start your channel? How many years ago was that?
The channel was made in 2015. I didn't start seriously doing anything on it till about 2016, late 2015. So
okay, so 7, 8 years. Yeah, okay. So we got like a nice spaced out thing. So like I want to hear it from your perspective, but just to like get the conversation started, I guess. My experience when I first started creating videos was very much anime, or at least like what I could tell. Anime YouTube felt very much like still quite a number of like smaller channels in like the, I would say like 500 subscribers to maybe 5,000 subscriber range, who would very much like a tight-knit community making kind of like mostly video essays or reaction content about like One Piece, but like whatever anime it was, yes. And then there were obviously some exceptions, like there was obviously like Gaunt, like Giguk. He was kind of like the one really, really big anime creator.
The one.
I would say...
The chosen one.
I would say so, yeah, because I think at that point, like I was not, I think Joey, like the anime man, he was already kind of moving away from anime content at that point, I think. Felt a lot more...
Yeah, he's just the man now.
Vloggy. Yes. He's just the man. Just the Joey. Yeah. So like there was like this one big channel, and then for One Piece and Naruto and like some other channels that I was aware of at that time, there were a few like in the 100K range. There was obviously Tekking for One Piece. I'm not even sure what he was. He was probably like 300,000-400,000 at that point.
That sounds about right, yeah. Roger was somewhere like late ones, 200,000. Joy Boy somewhere in the 100s as well.
There were like some great channels like and I'm not actually sure what his real, like what the pronunciation for that is supposed to be. Alexander, like what?
Oh yeah. I don't know what it should be either, but yes, he makes good general anime videos as well.
He did fantastic. He has this insane. In case you don't know, you should check out his channel. He made this fantastic review of like mostly anime, like great Hunter x Hunter video essays, but also he has this insane like 3-hour breakdown of all the Harry Potter movies. I'm not sure if like either of you has seen that, which was really great.
I've never seen that. No.
Oh, fantastic. I strongly recommend it. I love that. That was insanely good content. But yeah, I think he was like in the 100K range, one of the bigger ones. And I'm sure there's like others I forget, like Swekage, is that correct? That he was like pretty big at that point. Yeah.
Anime Uproar around then as well. Was quite
Anime
big.
Uproar, very true.
Still is, I should say.
When did Nuxtaku come in? Because I remember when I first came into the YouTube sphere, I feel like Nuxtaku was quite big.
I remember it very well because it was like roughly maybe half a year or so, or a year into me starting my channel, that he started blowing up with his like flexes and anime videos.
Yeah, he was big on the flex culture. I paid like $1,000 for this, or I showed curse something to that.
No, I think that actually was like after he actually blew up.
Yeah, because I feel like that was during when I first created.
No, yeah, he established himself on anime content, but during the era, I think I'm remembering starting to notice you. It was around that sort of flex content.
Yeah, like once he hit the million or something, it started changing. But yeah, I feel like overall it was very passionate people, but kind of like bad mic quality,
video quality, if there was video at all.
Yeah, there was just like slideshow animation.
Who would ever do a slideshow?
like almost pieces of art, kind of like clustered together thumbnails. And also like many channels were just doing very specific content. Like one person was really known for like power scaling and that was doing what they were doing, and other people were just reacting, and other people were doing just theories like Joyboy theories, for example.
That's really interesting, because my impression of it was a lot of people doing really general stuff and no one had really like started to niche properly yet. So that's interesting.
But do you think that's when you started, Liam?
Maybe I just wasn't paying close enough attention.
I feel like it's maybe both, where like, because I think what you mean, Liam, is like people really hyper focusing on like a bucket of content where it's like a theory or whatever. What I mean more is like people had like a style of doing videos, and I like kind of every video was like their, like that formula, if that makes sense, was the impression I had of a lot of channels back then.
I would say the same, Manu. Like when I first got into One Piece YouTube, like I would think of your channel as like deep character analysis. And I actually also remember around the same time that I started getting into YouTube, I wanted to start a series where I was going to analyze big moments in One Piece, because I had seen a lot of like big arc reviews, and I was going to do actual like moments, and then you started that series and I was like, damn it.
That's probably a sign that you could have gone into it, that it was a good idea.
Yeah, that would have been the best time to do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think at that point I just figured out too late. Like if someone obviously much bigger than me has done it, then it's too late.
Then ride it.
I mean,
yeah, I should
ride
have.
that wave. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my channel has definitely gone through like fairly clear phases in my YouTube career. Yeah, I sometimes do get like shit for that from Liam, also, rightfully so. But yeah, I mean, I personally do enjoy like trying out new video formats, and if something sticks, I do enjoy like doing that for a while. But yeah, probably for consistency's sakes, it's maybe not the best either. But yeah, I think like one thing that was definitely, from my perspective, what helped me actually get footing on YouTube in general was I saw that there was like kind of like a lack of quality in terms of editing and video quality overall, like sound quality and so on and so forth.
What really helped me is that everyone else was shit.
No, that's not what not what I'm saying.
Honestly, I'm prepared to take hate for this. I don't think that's an unfair statement to say, including me, who was around when you got started. I think all of our channels were garbage, and that was the only reason why my garbage was able to exist, because there was nothing better.
Yeah, I would say that, Manu, your, the best One Piece theory, I guess, it revolutionized the game. Even
before that, Manu was stepping up videos. That did really throw a bomb into...
Enough cocksucking there. I appreciate it, though.
The German in him's like...
Looking back at my first videos, they're horrendous, but like what I tried to do, like my thought was like, oh, all these people have such great ideas and insights about One Piece that I just didn't have at that point, or didn't feel like I had. So what I did was I was really enjoying photography content at that point, and I was like, yeah, most other niches on YouTube, it would be unacceptable almost to like offer like a slideshow of like still images and like a dark thumbnail with like some unreadable text.
Because if you're talking about purely aesthetics, you gotta look good. Like, you're not gonna trust a photographer who has like a horrible webcam situation happening.
Which is like nothing wrong, I think, to start out, but I think like sound quality is, for example, something that's I would always recommend.
It depends on the niche. If you're trying to be a photography YouTuber, you need to be like schmick from the get-go.
That's true. But I think for anime, just having good sound is like so valuable, because I think people will consume a lot, like just audio-wise.
And it's something that none of us had up until very recently in the history of YouTube.
But I think it makes sense when you consider the anime in general, or anime fandom in general. It was relatively a small niche, and it's also only in the last couple to maybe 5 years that the anime community has blown up, and therefore it's like a huge influx of people actually consuming things other than anime and demanding that people get better quality in terms of anime YouTube.
Yeah, which is what I wanted to get to. It's insane to me comparing it to 5 years when I first started making videos. Like nowadays, not only the amount of channels that pop up every week about any conceivable anime, but also everyone seems to have a thumbnail artist. Everyone seems to have really decent editing, really decent sound quality, seems to have like a really good idea of everyone seems to be doing research now, market research about what's actually working and what's out there. So I feel like, especially over the last 2 years, it has been insanely professionalized, the entire like anime scene. Also, definitely due to like the rise in popularity, like stuff like Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, and so on and so forth. Like anime has just exploded. But also YouTube being more and more professionalized, I think a lot of people, and I know people personally who've started anime channels like just as a business model, basically, because they see like a big audience there.
Just as a business.
Just as a
Really?
business, yeah.
That's full circle. I was going to say the businessification of the anime niche is, I think, both a good thing and a bad thing.
What's the good thing?
Well, the good thing is it's forcing people to actually raise their quality. Because there was a time when I was absolutely ashamed to tell people that I was an anime fan. Because if you've seen something about anime on the internet, chances are you've seen a shitty video of someone in their room, terrible camera, just like terrible audio. But now you see people like, say, Manu with your studio setup, and it's like, oh, is this a thing I can take seriously? I guess it is. So that's the good.
You guys have
I think
lovely
rising
studios.
standards.
You're the lighting expert here, Liam.
Well, yeah. Well, should I get my dick out now? Is that how this is going?
I already see it over your shoulder, actually.
Yeah, it's hanging behind you.
It looks pretty hard, yeah.
I have it on display yet. No, it's a semi.
Wow.
We're getting there.
What a flex.
The bad thing is that I think that people are hyperfixating too much on the YouTube part. Like, people are starting to focus. This is just my opinion. I don't really have anything to back this up other than what I see. I think people are starting to focus too much, or not too much. There's probably never too much. More so on being YouTubers rather than talking about, you know, the actual content that they're making content on.
And I mean, I'm not necessarily like excluding any of us here, because we're all obviously
No,
playing
I
the
fall
game.
into that category.
Yeah, but I also think like there's a bit of a, which is interesting enough, because like we kind of go full circle again, as we often do with YouTube, where like videos have almost become so optimized in general on YouTube, but also in the anime community, that like now videos that actually have like a little bit more slow pacing, actually some analysis in them, some actual insights. Like, I know there's like some channels who do that, and they start doing that fairly successfully. And I can totally see the trend going towards that again. Like, I think now we have like 100, again, including all of us, but there's like 100 channels, if not more, if not 1,000 channels, who have the same fast-paced rattling of points kind of content.
And specifically for One Piece, there are gazillions
For
of
anything.
us.
Yeah, it's like all the fun facts and the mysteries and so on and so forth. And again, we all have those videos on our channels as well. It's just this flood of it. For One Piece, I don't like see it as much, because again, I'm a creator myself there. But for other anime, like I sometimes get recommendations and I'm like, oh, I've gotten like 100 things you didn't know about Demon Slayer like before from like 5 different channels today already, right? So that's one thing. But I've also like noticed that, again, not sure if you had the same experience with your channels, and I'd love to hear. For example, I had like a long phase until quite recently, where I've like made it a point to talk very excitedly and loud and kind of shout at my audience like Mr. Beast style, and I've been trying to like tune that down a little bit again, find like a balance there. But I think it's always interesting how I guess in the optimal position you like look for ways to distinguish yourself, innovate a little bit, distinguish yourself from what everyone else is doing, to kind of have like a unique feature to yourself. But once things become very commonly acceptable, I think it's always like a good time to like take a good look. And like for me, I looked at my content and I was like, I'm actually a little bit annoyed watching my own videos. Like I click on it and someone's like, this guy's like shouting at me. So
Stop it. Stop shouting at me. I didn't do anything to you, me.
But is that like something you guys are familiar with? Like, are you going through like
Yes.
these phases, or okay?
So I'm currently going through a phase where I'm noticing people's titles a lot more. And almost every time I see a title for a One Piece video with smaller creators, I'm like, okay, that's what I was doing 6 months ago. That's what Manu was doing 6 months ago. Why are we still doing that? This is definitely my cue to not touch that again for a long, long time. But I'm also going through a phase where I really don't like the look of my videos, and I'm trying to currently think of a different set to go with, because I think that this is getting a bit flat, a bit tired, a bit used, and I want something with a bit more oomph, a bit more aesthetic.
You mean
flair.
your A-roll set, or
Yes,
like your
this
physical
one.
set, or
This one.
the black one?
This situation I have going, yeah.
It is your philosophy to change things up every 6 months, right?
It is, and I haven't changed this in the last 6 months. So it still looks okay, but it's getting real old to me, and I need to do something else, yeah.
I have to say, that is a very big endeavor. Props to you, Liam. I'm excited to see what will be next.
Literal props to your new set, yeah.
Yeah.
You need more props to
Which I am genuinely thinking of props, yes.
Personally, for me, I'm trying to go back into making content that I personally enjoy and not just looking at what is trends. Because I think that's why I started One Piece YouTube anyways, was because I went into COVID and then we couldn't talk to our real life friends was like, I couldn't talk to my friends anymore, didn't really know anyone who liked One Piece or who liked anime, which is why I started YouTube. And then I think during the whole, I guess, the professionalization of One Piece YouTube, I fell into, sticking up with the trends and making sure like I was keeping on top of things. And I think a part of me like lost, I guess, just
passion.
Yeah. I mean,
Drive?
I wouldn't say the passion, but I think my videos didn't reflect necessarily what everything that I was interested in. And it's a bit hard for me to do because the ideas that I have in my head, I think, are just too grand considering the little time that I have to put into practice. But it is something that I'm planning on getting more into.
Your grand ideas.
My grand line ideas.
It's hard finding like your individual voice, I think, on YouTube, because you always see other people doing things and you're feeling like, oh man, people are getting so many views with that type of, why am I not doing this? I should have thought of this way earlier. Maybe it's better to go into that direction. It's kind of scary often trying like something new that's kind of a little bit untested and putting yourself out there. And I'm not even sure if it's the right thing to do. I mean, I feel like for me, it's usually been like, it felt healthy afterwards, often switching things up, going away from character analyses, going away from theories, because I felt like I've been doing the same thing for too long. But yeah.
Manu, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I have struggled, and to be honest, still struggle with finding my voice. Because, I mean, if you go back on my earliest videos, it sounds like this. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything
So are we talking
One Piece.
physical voice?
No, but it's about finding your sort of persona. There was nothing in that. That was just me reading words. And it's taken legitimately like 7 years for me to get to the point where I can be like, I don't know even what I do. I need a script. I'm horrible without a script. Useless I am. It's taken a long time to just find what I am on camera.
And as you said, I think it's always healthy to like, I mean, kind of two schools of thoughts, I guess, but there's, as you say, like one is actually finding that sweet point and then sticking with it and refining around it. Whereas I'm still very much, like I always like changing things up again. For me, when you watch the big video, like the theory video that went viral, like, oh my god, I can't watch
You
that.
were yelling at me a lot, Manu. You didn't take your medication that day. You had like 2 camera angles set up. You'd be like,
Epileptic.
Yeah. It very much was. And then I kind of went back to one camera, but still very loud and very excited. And now I've been tuning it down. But then the question again is that too quiet? Is that like now getting a little bit bored? Like, so I feel like I'm always trying to, as you said, still very much finding that voice.
The way I see it is I'm trying to figure out, and this is going to sound like the wankiest shit ever, but this is how I think of it. The way I think of it is I'm trying to figure out how to best present myself authentically. I'm trying to figure out what I am on my best day and sort of give that as opposed to the more laid back, reserved, general person I am. I'm trying to refine the inner feelings, express the inner feelings, project. That's a better word. Project the inner feelings. Yeah.
I'm trying, like I said, to just explore things that I like and hope that people appreciate it for what it is. And I think the benefit of having a smaller channel is that, and I guess because I do have other jobs, this is still very much a hobby, and which I think is both a benefit as well as a con, because I guess maybe it does stifle my growth, and I could probably be investing more time in it if I really want to grow at a level that I probably would like to grow. But at the same time, I feel like the channel is so young that I can still do a lot of like experimenting with it and find that sweet spot that I can grow and that I'd be happy to grow in. Just be consistent once I get there.
Yeah, there's like obviously like different factors too, where it's obviously YouTube always has had, like with any level of success, there's always this trade-off. Is like, has this become an actual income source for me? Has it maybe even become my full-time job? And obviously once it becomes your livelihood, then suddenly it takes away like a lot more of that freedom you had before, maybe, where you could be like, it doesn't really matter to me if I make half the views this month, but I want to try something completely different, and instead of like publishing my 4 videos, I'm gonna publish one really long one. Like it does, you kind of lose a little bit of that freedom, I think, to a certain degree.
I think this is where hyper obsession comes into play, and it's the most beneficial thing that I have going on my side. The fact that I am genuinely hyper obsessed with this damn fictional pirate comic that I am just so happy to talk about any aspect of it, however many times, for how long, so I can just go, my audience wants to hear about that? Great, I love that thing, like all of the rest of the stuff. Let's do it. But if your mind is elsewhere, which occasionally mine does go elsewhere, then it can be, a bit of a slog trying to conform to that, I suppose, but it's not usually a problem for me in particular.
Oh no, I meant less like, that's another thing, like keeping up enthusiasm for something. And I've definitely had like one or two phases throughout my YouTube career where I was like, oh, I would love to like do something apart One Piece now. And I've always felt like either One Piece has automatically recaptured me, or I've found ways to re-engage with the story for myself. More like right now, I'm like so excited about everything that's going on that, as you said, it's super easy to talk about anything just because it's so much fun. Yeah, what I was more referring to was like testing out different types of content, like trying out new things, right? Because again, if it's more like your YouTube is like a nice bonus or even just a hobby for you and it's like pure passion, then it's very easy to be like, I want to make a fucking video about like 3 hours, ranking all butts in One Piece, all abs in One Piece, like who has the best six-pack in one. Like that's just like, I've always been passionate about that, and so I want to make that video.
You should, Manu.
Like
I believe in you.
I should, maybe. I mean, who knows? Maybe it does well.
I think you could do well.
Tekking's boob video did very well, so maybe your ab video would do similarly well.
Reaching the female audience.
They're out there. There is a stunning amount of female One Piece fans that, well, maybe Sophie does, but none of us cater to. Almost no one.
No, I think my demographics would be eerily closer to you as well. Like 5% female audience.
Like the
90%.
90? Oh. You have 10% female. Manu, you're doing better than either of us. Double.
Yeah.
Let's go. But yeah, no, my point being though, if that would be a video you would love to make, if it's just your passion and your hobby, you can just do it, and if it doesn't work, you're like, okay, I tried it, I did it, it's out there, let's move on to something else. While as if, you're like paying the bills with that, or you're actually even paying staff, like you and me, Liam, like people who work with the team and are part of the channel, you kind of lose a little bit of that freedom because you do need to make a certain level of income to actually, pay people, pay your own livelihood, and so on and so forth. And I think it does take a little bit away from being able to experiment with content as much as maybe you would like to.
No, I completely agree. Although, going back to that professionalization of it, the crazier thing is that even smaller channels now, you can't just get away with making thumbnails yourself. Like, all of us will have artists that we need to pay, like I have an artist that I need to pay.
Almost no one can get away with screenshots anymore.
Yeah, and sometimes it's painful because I know that the amount that I'm paying for the thumbnail is probably more than I'm going to make from the video itself.
There was a point, Sophie, where you and I had the same thumbnail artist. And she was very kind because she was charging you significantly less than she was charging me.
Yeah, I do appreciate her for that.
It's interesting because on the one hand, again, and slowly maybe like making the bridge towards AI. On the one hand, I feel content has never been as democratized or like as easy to actually make a YouTube video, because all like you have your iPhone camera is almost, there's literally, you really have to know what you're doing with a professional camera for it to really matter quality wise. Like your phones are so good. You have AI that helps you with artwork, with whatever it be. That makes entrance into content creation easier than ever. On the other hand, I feel like the hurdle to actually make it might actually have been higher now. It might actually be harder.
You lower the barriers of entry, you raise competition.
Exactly. So more people are doing very similar content that's like maybe easier to, like, that's like one thing I wanted to talk about too, the entire like flood of AI generated content on every level, voice generated AI, thumbnails that are AI generated, scripts that are AI generated, even editing. Like you can make in case someone in the audience is not aware, there's channels out there uploading like 2 videos a day, full blown, like everything is AI made.
What is it? The Quebblecop channel that's been completely AI for a while now.
Oh my god, yeah, don't get me. Oh my god, yeah, I mean, don't get me started on that. But yeah, it's like, again, it's easy to pick up your phone and actually start making videos, but there's also so much more competition. And as you said, Sophie, actually distinguishing yourself there is literally like you need good artists. You need like good ideas for thumbnails to actually distinguish yourself. You also need to actually either have the experience or find someone with the experience to kind of see, okay, what would actually work, what would help me actually grow. There's like very much still people on YouTube out there who just have great personality or great skills or a great idea and they blow up and then make it from there. But I think it's become a lot harder actually to start a channel from that. And I would even argue if I were to start my channel to this year, I would be way more skeptical if I ever had a chance to actually make it. In fact, I would probably bet money against me being able to like start the channel with the same level of skills and the same like starting point as I had.
So you're talking about New Game Plus, right? You take all of your knowledge and skills and you're starting a new channel today. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, I feel like then I would probably
I feel like
the
then you'd
advantage.
probably
As if you were restarting.
Oh, yeah.
No.
And you didn't
I'm
have
saying,
the knowledge.
I mean,
yeah.
but yeah, if you're taking, like Liam from 7 years ago and putting him here and going, do the thing, he's not going to be able to do it. That guy sucked.
But that's also because I guess people creating channels now have had the benefit of watching prior channels grow and going, okay, that's what works, that's what not works.
That's true.
I would actually also say, and this is a bit crazy, but people who are genuinely putting in effort and putting in work in their channels sometimes are disadvantaged to those AI, like heavily AI created channels where it's like very easily digestible content where it's just sort of like explaining things and
an
maybe like
efficiency
doesn't
advantage.
requires much research. And I would even say there's not necessarily something that makes them stand out. Like even their thumbnails are incredibly generic, doesn't really distinguish itself from like the millions of other thumbnails that look very much the same, but for some reason like it just works. It's tough out there.
I mean, it's obviously the classic phenomena that has existed on YouTube forever where a style of thumbnail becomes popular. If you're lucky, maybe you were like on the forefront of creating that style.
New meta, closed mouth thumbnails. Mr. Beast has discovered that the open mouth, it's done. No more of that closed mouth, more successful.
Done, it's over.
Yep. Stop it. Shut it.
close
Shut it
both.
before people click off.
No one
Stop it,
wants your
shut it
teeth.
down. Yeah, but that's the thing. Maybe you discover something that works really well. Like suddenly, people really seem to resonate with that style of thumbnail. You use it for a month.
Yeah, like when we discovered that Oda breaks One Piece a lot and how much people enjoyed hearing that.
Oda does break. He keeps breaking the One Piece.
Oda, stop that. It's in bits now.
Stop
He
breaking
fixes it and then
Exactly. He
And then
builds the
smashes it
castle
and
just to
puts it back
smash
together.
it down every week. Oh, he's broken One Piece again.
Yeah, but obviously something works. Everyone picks it up, makes it kind of a little bit unusable after a while.
Yep.
So yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, and obviously channels like mine and Liam, and I would say Sophie, you're like a very decent size at this point where you are like have like a somewhat
75,000.
established
That's very
audience as
decent.
well. It's pretty strong, right? It does give you the advantage that you have already established like some trust with like an audience that gives you like, you don't have to compete from scratch right from the start with all other One Piece content or all other anime content out on the platform, which does help. But yeah, for new creators, I genuinely wouldn't even know how to go about it like without the experience I've luckily gained from doing it for 5 years
A lot of the
now.
newer creators do come equipped with that sort of video and audio experience now. They just like have those skills from the get-go.
And I feel like people have done other channels too.
Yeah. Well, they have backgrounds in media.
But it's also because, again, just the boom of YouTube in general, right? Or the boom of like social media and making it big on, I guess, traditionally non-traditional forms of careers and occupations. 10 years ago, if you told me like, you could have a full career just doing YouTube, like I would not have believed you.
Yeah, don't you think it's great that YouTuber is almost considered like the old school profession now?
It is.
And
You're
it's
not
like,
a
TikTok
TikToker?
Yeah, no.
You're a stuffy old YouTuber. When are you going to retire, old man?
That's what my sister keeps telling me. So if you've got to take it to TikTok, TikTok is where it's at.
So, I mean, I'm not sure if, like, I think, Liam, we had this discussion before, and Sophie, for you too. I think we're all three of us aren't, like, the type of person who is like, by the way, did you know that I'm a YouTuber? Like,
I try actively never to tell people that.
yes, unless strongly pressed about it, I do try to avoid that too. And so my best friend back in Germany, he had like a kind of like met some people from our old high school. And so he told some people there that I do YouTube now full time, and the very concerned question was, "Oh,
Are you okay?
Is he all right? Can can you make a living from that? Which is interesting because it's kind of this dichotomy. Like you have people who are on YouTube who want to like all, young kids wanting to become YouTubers and so on and so forth. And you have kind of like that, I feel half the population has the superstar image of like all YouTubers must be billionaires. And then you still have people who kind of don't maybe consume YouTube as much, who are kind of like, oh my God, he's lost his path.
I heard something astounding the other day. There is a university course in Ireland on how to be an influencer now that is beginning.
YouTube.
You
Oh
can
my God.
you can get a degree in becoming an influencer.
I've heard that in Korea there's like mandatory e-gaming
Is there?
classes in some high schools.
Wow.
Got to keep up that esports, right? Play that StarCraft.
The digitalization of education, I think, is definitely a thing, and we're seeing it in Australia as well.
It's not a thing in Germany.
Oh, really?
Parchment?
Digitalization. Ooh, the D word. Dangerous.
Everyone now, it's mandatory. You have to have an iPad at school, and you have to... Like, I think that like the curriculum has to have some sort of assessment that's digitally based, and it can't just be like pen and paper, which makes sense because, that's just the way the world is going. But the fact that you have kids who say, when I grow up, I want to be a YouTuber.
A lot of them.
I went and saw my dentist not too long ago, who my dad told, because I go to the same
Good
dentist.
on you, Sophie.
My dad told the dentist that I do YouTube and that I'm a One Piece
You
YouTuber.
should go. Oh my God.
And my dentist told me that his son wants to be a Pokemon Pokemon YouTuber, which made me think of you, Liam.
Yeah, that's a rough niche.
Pokemon is a rough niche.
It is. I think it's ShowPro that has the rights to Pokemon. They're very militant about flagging Pokemon videos.
So this is like a little bit of a tangent here, but like I recently watched one video about Pokemon, and obviously like immediately YouTube has been flooding my homepage with Pokemon content. So weirdly enough, I've gotten really hooked on like video essays shaming Pokemon and Game Freak. So I think in the last week I've gotten like recommended and watched 3 videos on why Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is basically a scam.
YouTube knows you better than you know you.
I bought it and I played it for like maybe 2 days before I was like, this is not
didn't.
catching me at all.
Because Sword and Shield didn't get me at all, so I was like, I think I'm kind of
I didn't play it. Like the new ones was like my return to Pokemon after, I think the last one I seriously played like as like from my childhood was probably Platinum.
Good era.
And so it was my attempt to get back into Pokemon, and yeah, like the fact that apparently they now released a DLC that's like half the price of a regular game blows my mind. But anyways, like that could be like another episode, like
Pokemon.
The state of Pokemon.
Okay, so this might be for the episode, but did you hear about the Pokemon Vincent van Gogh crossover that they're doing at the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam? It's for the Pokemon trading card game, and they've got a bunch of, I think it's there's a special Pikachu card painted in the Van Gogh self-portrait style. And
Oh, that's gonna be valuable.
it is currently, because they're completely sold out already. On the first day, scalpers got everything. They like flooded the museum, bought up all the merch
On eBay.
and now those cards are going for like a couple of $1,000s on eBay.
How many did they make?
I don't know exactly how many they made, but it doesn't matter because this happens every time with the Pokemon TCG. They release a set, scalpers buy up all of the available boxes, so you can't get them until there's a reprint or unless you want to pay stupid amounts of money.
Fun times.
This is a problem for me who enjoys rectangular cardboard. A big problem. I would have loved one of those Pikachu.
I mean, me recently too, yeah.
Yeah, you would understand the cardboard fascination.
I'm trying very hard though to kind of like fight the urge to buy anything purely like from a collectible standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, only buy the cards you actually playing. But like you look at like, are you familiar with the Ragavan, Liam?
Nope.
Okay, it's like maybe the best one mana drop creature card ever printed in Magic, and like Magic has started to basically print a limited version, so 1 of 500 or something, and so those go for like insane amount of money, and they look great. It's like you're looking at it and like, oh man, exclusivity, and then you look at the price and you're like,
There was a time when I genuinely looked into buying some of the Power 9, like, oh, how much do these cards go for these days? I'm making a bit of money on YouTube, I could probably afford that. Then I'm like, Mox Pearl, oh, like $8,000. No. I'm out.
I mean, some of the Lotuses or something, they go for like hundreds of thousands.
Stupid amounts of money. When I was in high school, a Black Lotus was going for like $1,000, and that was out of this world. Now they're selling for too much.
You got to make another viral
But
video.
So many viral videos.
don't invest by doing by buying trading card games.
Don't
would be my
speculate
advice.
on cards. That's a bad idea.
It's the same like with Bitcoin or with Apple stocks back in 2006.
Or video games when buying like sealed original video games was a thing. I think that got outed as a scam pretty quickly though.
Oh my god,
Didn't
yeah.
even know about that.
I would love to do an episode about that.
Sure,
I think
next
that might
week,
be really
Pokemon.
fun.
Sophie,
talking
you know
about that.
Pokemon, right?
Yeah, let's do
Let's
it next
do it.
week.
Done.
Pokemon games.
Yeah, we'll just
Alright, we'll
Pokemon
see if we
done.
stick
But
to
yeah,
it.
like we'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, going back to that, I guess what's your outlook on the future? Like, are you fairly worried about like the major influx of content and AI and everything? Like, do you feel it's kind of like a threat to anime YouTube? Do you feel like it's more like a positive thing where like now we have way more exposure, more people are engaging with anime overall, more people like are enjoying watching content? Like, what's your general perspective?
There's a couple
on
of
the future?
different perspectives. I'm not personally afraid, which is something that I say from my ivory tower, because I don't think AI is going to do anything to me. It does dismay me for the future of the general human race, though, because
Yeah.
I'm at a point where the things I'm interested in, like I am starting to get served like AI versions of those, and I'm like, nah, go away, give me the real one.
I mean, and again, we're talking about like the best case scenario of AI where like none of the, general AI might kill us, might take over the world. Like, we're taking all of that aside and saying like that's not gonna happen. We're just gonna like have normal AI that's gonna like make appearances in our daily life. Even then, it's really scary to think about. And I'm curious, like just today I saw on Twitter, and I'm not sure if you saw on X, sorry Elon, on X.com, I saw Mr. Beast post about like this like viral,
Yes,
or
I
not
saw
viral,
that
but the
as
scam
well,
where
yeah.
people are deepfaking him.
It's
Yeah.
like the Joe Rogan scam where they deepfaked him to sell the supplements.
And honestly, I mean, they must be working on it in the background, but I'm blown away that after all these months and actually years of this being in the making, that no platform has yet come up with a way to actually give like creators unique IDs or something to circumvent like the deepfake problem and everything.
Are you really though? I feel like the platforms themselves are always not even one, but at least 2 steps behind when it comes to
Very
actually
behind.
regulating things properly.
I still haven't stopped the other spam comments. I still get like
it's-
butts and boobs saying, "Hey, great videos, click my link."
They've recently like researched a little bit. I've seen, yeah. I had to ban more emojis.
Yeah, they can't even stop that, let alone the AI.
The newest trend was taking the banned phrases and putting like brackets around stuff. I personally feel like if there is not going to be something done about it soon, like the internet, I mean, I personally feel Twitter and large parts of the internet are already unusable as like as an information gathering source for anything that's like relevant. Like, okay, if someone AI generated like something for the, the wiki or something on One Piece, I'm like, okay, it's wrong, but it's One Piece, like we will survive it. But if it's like something
How
about
dare you.
like elections or something political or science, I'm like, that's a really big problem, right?
It is a really big problem. It's happening. Well,
What a positive note.
What do you feel, Sophie? Do you have any last words on this?
as probably the expert on these sorts of issues amongst us.
Even governments are very slow to get behind this, and it is a big issue going on in like internet governance at the moment, which is a controversy in its own right because people are saying AI isn't really actually to do with internet governance, but it is a fun world we're living in. But an even funner world when you have members
Quickly
like
pushed aside.
Anthony Barone
Thank you,
to
Anthony
support
Barone.
us.
Manu's not excited, but I am. Thank you.
I am. But yeah, we will see. I'm a little bit scared about like the future of the internet overall. Again, as you said, for like entertainment purposes, it's not as big maybe of a deal. Maybe it just will enhance content.
What if it means that in the One Piece live action they put in some sort of really non-canon material and they could be like, no, it was true. Don't you remember this transponder snail that was actually a transponder snake?
Randy Troy
Manga
would never.
confirmed. In Randy we trust.
And Randy, we trust.
Writer for the live action
Looking
One
at you,
Piece,
Randy.
Troy would never, because we know where to find you.
We know. Wait, and actually, I don't know where he lives, but
We'll find out.
we'll find you, Randy. All right. On that note, any new members, Sophie, that we should thank?
Once again,
What?
we're going to say thank you to Anthony Perrone.
Thank you, Anthony.
Should we do a third round?
What just happened with your head?
Why? What happened with my head?
We did this already.
I remembered the moment I asked, but then I was like, oh. Now it's weird stopping the sentence. All right, well, Anthony, you are thanked. Thank you. And I guess till next week, Pokemon. Probably.
Yep, till next week, Pokemon, probably. Maybe.
And we'll thank Anthony again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anthony.